Good morning, guys. Welcome, TJ. Welcome, Antonio. Hope everyone's doing all right. Just gonna wait a couple of minutes, wait for everyone to get in. Sorry, I've been away for so long. I know I did do a brief stream. Was it on Monday morning? It may have been, but yeah, stream schedule is gonna be back on track. It's been a bit of a jumpy schedule recently. Been doing a lot of Discord calls with the members, of course. But yeah, I'm happy to be back on YouTube streaming more regularly, and hopefully the charts welcome us back pretty nicely. But yeah, how have you been, Antonio? Hope the trading has been going well. Actually, I haven't chatted to you in a long time, so fill me in on how things have been going. TJ as well, how have you been doing? Huge fall on GJ, guys. The reasoning for that was we got extremely bad retail sales that came in about 40 minutes ago, just over 40 minutes ago. So that's definitely part of the reason as to why we've had this massive drop on GJ. Caveman, how you doing? Welcome. Being blessed. I stick with 2 pairs and that's it. Beautiful. That's the way to do it. 2 pairs, 1 to 2 sessions, and then, I mean, however many trades you would like to take, but I would say anyone starting out, try aim for about 1 to 2 trades a day. It's more than enough. Right, I think I'm gonna do a quick, we have about 11 minutes till London Open. So let's just do a full breakdown on GJ, and then I can tell you guys what I think is gonna happen. Obviously it is a Friday today, guys. We know how markets can work on Friday, and we also have this weekly candle which is about to close. You can see a very strong weekly, or it was a strong bullish weekly candle until about today. We've been very bullish on GJ recently. You can see the last about 5 weeks have all been very strong bullish candles, except obviously we had this doji bearish candle, which then we filled the wick of and then continued bullish. During phase 1 of funding challenge, good luck with that, Antonio. I hope it's going well. If you're consistent and just stick to your rules and stick to your trading plan, I'm sure you'll get through that just fine. So yeah, good luck. Keep me updated on how that goes. So let's just look at GJ. We can start off with the weekly market structure, guys. You can see weekly market structure is currently bullish. That's just because our current weekly candle is bullish. That's all we really need to know. You can also see that we have broken the previous high of last week's weekly candle, but we did that quite a long time ago. If we look at the daily, now there was a trade idea based on the daily here, but it was just against the overall trend. And what that was obviously we created a high. You can see we then formed resistance and then a weak support, a weak daily support. You can see that this candle obviously tried to push up and then came back down towards the end of the day, and we closed very weak bullish. That was yesterday's daily candle. Now today's daily candle wicked up, and then we broke the low of that daily candle, giving us the opportunity to fill this daily wick and then continue even further bearish, which is exactly what's happening. Obviously with the assistance of that very bad retail news, we have started to come down quite a lot. Nick, welcome. What's up, my man? How are you doing? So if we look at the daily time frame, I see potential for us to possibly come down to 165 200, possibly even further, but I would say it's safe to say about, or maybe 165 400 in between those two prices. What you would expect to see at this point is a low being created on the lower time frames, and then a bit of a pullback and then a retest of those lows. 4 hour, we were stuck in a bit of a 4 hour consolidation. We came out of that. This was our resistance, top of the consolidation. This was our support, and you can see we finally broke out of that. Price is now coming back down to possibly retest these sorts of areas down here, the previous 4 hour resistance below this area. And you can see we never really got a proper retest of this area, so we could see price come all the way down to 165 400 and then start to move up again after a proper retest of that area. Or if we are going to continue correcting that overall daily move, because we had a few very strong daily pushes, then we could see ourselves coming down a little bit further as well, maybe to 164 760, around that sort of area. So what I'm looking at the moment is obviously going to drop down to our 30-minute time frame. We're going to look at our zones. Obviously I'm going to adjust this to the support area over here, because what I'm expecting is for price to create a low. So that's what we're doing at the moment. Price is pushing down. If we can create a low maybe at this area and create a bit of a pullback, we could form some resistance and then retest the low down here and create a new low and kind of continue that bearish sort of pattern. That's if we are going to continue bearish. Obviously, I think that based on, you can see here, guys, we had this very bad retail sales news. Based on that, I think we are going to continue bearish. This has also obviously transitioned a lot of structure. So our 30-minute structure and our 1 hour structure is now bearish. Important to note as well. And then obviously we have all of these clean candles on the 30 minutes. So just depending on how much volume we're going to get, we obviously have London Open coming up in 8 minutes. We could see ourselves pushing right down to 165, 400 at the open, but it's going to be very interesting to see. I think the move obviously has gone already. I wouldn't be trying to catch any sells at this present moment, rather wait for a pullback and then see where things go from there. So another area that I might mark out that price potentially could come and retest at some point is 167. You can see broke out of this range, then we could come back up all the way to retest the support level, turn into resistance, and then start moving down again. That's one possibility. The other possibility is obviously we push down, create a low, and then come to this support area, which is over here and over here, turn that into resistance, and then retest the low. So yeah, just be wary of that, guys. It has been quite a strong push already, so it's definitely going to exhaust at some stage, just depending on how much volume we're going to get at market open. If we look at gold, gold's in a no trade range for sure. I would say gold's going to be safest above 1958.21. We could maybe come up to about 1963 if we break above that price. Otherwise, I think there are going to be some risky sells below 1950. We have about 40 pips of clean range, but it is going to be a bit of a push, and obviously you can see based on the daily at the moment we are creating higher high, higher low, and a higher high now again. So if we do come back down a little bit, create a high low, then we could see ourselves coming back up and just continuing that bullish pattern. So let's just be a little bit careful with that. Shako, what's up, my boy? Been missing you in the Discord calls, my man. Been missing you. Gold in general, guys, has been very tough to trade recently. Take it from me. It has not treated me nicely recently, but I think that, you know, today, look, news-wise, we go and... Okay, we don't have much high-impact US dollar news. We have quite a lot of pound news coming in today. Back from the bush. Welcome, welcome. Not in a Discord call at the moment, just streaming. But... we'll probably, I mean, it's the last day of the week for trading, so next week. What were you doing in the bush, Renko? And when you say bush, I'm assuming you mean like a lodge. Or you're actually camping. So let's just type in here exactly what we are looking for. I'm gonna mark these 1945 sells out to obviously potentially fill this wick and then continue bearish, but again, quite risky. Ranges are not great. So these are the areas I'm looking at. I'm gonna say at the moment this is I actually won't say this is a no trade range, because one thing I was looking at was the 4 hour to possibly continue bullish. I just want to see what's going to happen on London Open, because if we can break above this candle high at London Open, we could see ourselves continuing bullish. So I won't mark this out as a no trade range just yet. GJ, all I'm waiting for is a support to form, and then either we break that support or support, pull back, resistance, sell back down to the low. Those should be some pretty easy sells. That's what I really like about a big move. Even if I miss the big move, I just know that there's going to be opportunity for a pullback, and then those retests of the high or the low. In this case, it's going to be the retest of the low. So definitely something I'm interested in. Possible aggressive entries on gold. I know I've been talking about gold being a little bit hard to trade recently, but based on the way that GJ is moving, and based on the fact that we are creating high highs and high lows on gold, it could provide us with a bit of an opportunity at London Open. But we're going to have to wait a minute and see. If we form very weak resistance with this liquidity wick, and then break the high of this 30-minute candle, obviously there is potential to continue. You're just trading into some tough price action. It's going to be much safer to wait for a move above 1958. Obviously the only issue with that is that's 50 pips away. Now 50 pips on gold can happen in a 5-minute candle, so it's not that much of an issue. It's just going to require a little bit more patience. If you guys have any charts or anything like that, please send them in. I actually haven't checked out any of you guys' charts in a long time, so it would be good to see. GJ is just going for it. Right, so we have London Open. We have obviously just created this low. We still have clean candles to the left, but price since the break, let's just say, of this support has already moved 60, roughly around 60 pips. So just got to be bit cautious about that. So not much happening on gold. Obviously we've now created resistance over here. So this is a range. I'd certainly say that this is a no trade range. If I can spell. But I wouldn't be against something based on the 4 hour, because obviously I do see potential buys. If we look at the daily time frame as well, if we break above 1958, that's also a break of yesterday's daily high, and that's also a break of a daily resistance with clean daily candles to the left. So that's obviously going to be providing opportunity for us to probably continue bullish. There goes GJ. If anyone is on the GJ train, well done. We should come down to 165,400. Tony, I see you in some GJ cells. Very nice, very nice. Definitely look to be, if depending on how much you're up, definitely look to be securing some partials on your positions for sure. So yeah, just be aware of that. So again, guys, what I'm waiting for is obviously by missing the majority of this move, I wasn't really too interested in catching this push that's just happened, this London Open push. So what I want to see is that support form, is what I'm talking about over here. And then once we create that support, hopefully that's the start of our pullback. I'm not going to try to trade the pullback. It's too counter trend, and that's just not how I like to trade. Then wait for some minor support to form after some resistance is formed. And then we break that. My position is going to be around here, stop loss above the candle high, and then looking to retest the low down here. So this is hopefully what's going to play out. I don't know if we're going to get such a deep pullback all the way to this area, but we should get some sort of a pullback. We normally do after such a big move. It's also, this move is based on fundamentals as well, so just be aware of that. And then we should be able to see a setup. This is my sort of type C setup. Obviously we're probably not going to pull all the way back up to a previous level of resistance, because that would mean we would have to come all the way back up to around these sorts of levels, and I think that's just a bit unrealistic. So there's a good chance that we're going to come to a previous level of support, form some resistance on that support, and then look for those continuation sells to retest the low, and then possibly even create a new low after that. But yeah, it just has been quite a strong push already. So unless GJ goes on one of its side missions where it just carries on pushing and pushing and pushing, we saw that happen on the buy side where it literally didn't form much of a pullback at all, and prices came up. Obviously also a fundamental based move with the yen banks, you know, talking about the Forex situation and things not looking good. Then we obviously had this push all the way up to 168, which was, you know, a huge push. Haven't been in those sort of price levels since 2016. So yeah, this is definitely potential to see a pullback and then retest of that low. Gold, I think at the moment is just not even worth trying to trade while it's in this range. Certainly not this range. Again, maybe above this 30-minute resistance level, but you are then looking at a possible wick fill and then continuation bullish based on the 4-hour time frame, because obviously we have these clean 4-hour candles. We have already been up into this area, so this is going to be the wick fill possibility, and then see further continuation. Me personally, I would like to see buys above 1958.21. I think there's great potential above that level. Obviously that also being yesterday's daily candle high level. So if we can break that daily candle high, which is also a daily resistance, then there is a great chance that we can possibly come and retest maybe 1970 if we break above 1958. There's 100 pips that move, but yeah, there's potential certainly. 1963 as well, first be looking at if we do get above that level. Obviously if price does come down a little bit, I won't be too concerned, because again we are forming higher high, higher low, because that was our previous low. You can see there's our previous lows, again higher high. So if we come down a little bit, even if we form a low over here on this sort of support level, it's still a higher low, and then we can possibly see a retest of the high and then a new high. So we might slowly have to shuffle up, but come maybe New York Open or pre-New York or NYSE Open, it is going to be a move of some sort. There will definitely be volume. Just a bit of a shame about GJ. If it hadn't had pushed so much, I definitely would have been much more enticed to take the London Open sells. You can see anyone who did take the sells would have had an extremely tight stop loss level, which is amazing, you know, 8 pips, 8.5 pips, and then you were looking at about a 20 pip move, and that happened in a matter of minutes, you know. So for anyone who did take the sells, well done. For anyone who got into the sells before, maybe based on the high time frames, pointed out a move on the daily time frame earlier as the stream started, that if you were looking at this based on the daily time frame, what you would have seen is a high created, then some daily resistance, which is always a sign that we could then possibly start respecting that resistance. If we're going to break that resistance, we're just going to get this situation again where we continue bullish. So that's exactly what happened here. Created a high, daily resistance, broke the high, continued bullish, In this situation, what happened with the following candle after we created this resistance is it closed very weak bullish. So that indicated that towards the end of the day, there was some very strong sellers pressure, and that's exactly what happened. Weak bullish candle. So the idea was that once we break this bullish candle, we can fill this daily wick, which wasn't exactly clean candles on the lower time frames. That's obviously a little bit off-putting to some, but once we had broken this daily candle wick, we had some very nice clean candles to the left. So yeah, great higher time frame. Sort of, if you based your moves on the higher time frames, that would have been a great analysis. Check out something I haven't looked at in a while, some Bitcoin. It's sitting at about 40,000, which is not great. Yeah, it looks like Bitcoin is obviously in a little bit of a rough patch at the moment. I mean, 40k isn't bad, but it's not what it once was. I think if we break above 43,000, we can move up to 45,000. Break below 40,000, probably come down to 38,000. Around there. But this, don't take this advice. It's not from a crypto guru. So anyone looking at taking these gold sells, you just need to understand that what you're probably going to be trading is creating a higher low. So there's obviously possibility of us coming down to, I would say, 1947. There's some nice clean range there. What you'll want to see obviously is a candle close, preferably below 1950.75, and then I would say wait for the next candle, so if this 30-minute candle closed below this level, wait for the next candle to wick up and then break the low, and then entries at the break of this 30-minute candle low, or whichever 30-minute candle low closes below this level. That's what I would be looking at or be suggesting, because then we obviously have that confirmation that this support level isn't being respected. And as soon as we're not respecting a support level on the 30-minute time frame, then there is obviously that possibility, if we have the clean range to the left, and in this case we do, about 40 pips or so, looking at even like 30 would be enough, there is a chance that we can continue down. If you are still also interested in those buys ideas, there are those aggressive buys above this 30-minute candle high to fill this wick, about 15 pips, and then further continue bullish based on the 4 hour, because then we'll be back in this clean range based on the 4 hour. So that's definitely two ideas which I'm looking at on GJ. And then our safest buys are most definitely going to be above 1958. Huge possibility above that level. Please guys, if you haven't, do remember to leave a like on the stream. It does help a lot and would be much appreciated. Starting with market structure on gold, could you help? Yeah, no problem at all. Let's do a full market structure breakdown on gold. Let me just hide these drawings for now. There we go. Okay, so market structure on the weekly, we can see we're going to base on the current weekly candle. So our weekly market structure is going to be bearish. Our daily market structure is currently bullish. So how we do that is we identify the high or the low. Well, we're going to have to keep these drawings on here for now. Let me just actually remove them all and then I can mark them all back in. This is our high. We look for a 2 or more candle pullback. You can see we have that over here. This is a 1 candle pause. This is a 2 or more candle pullback because we have 2 consecutive bearish candles in a row. So what we need to do now is mark out the low of that point, so I would say over there, and that is where market structure on gold is going to flip bearish. For now we are bullish as this is our high point which created the high. Have we exceeded that? No, we haven't. Have we created a new high? No, we haven't. So this will remain our high for a while. So we have a bearish weekly, a bullish daily. If we look at our 4 hour, we now need to identify high or low. You can see this is clearly our high. Again, we're going to be looking for our 2 or more candle pullback. Anything less than that is just known as a pause. So this is 1 candle, 1, 1. You can see over here we have 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it from our low. So this is the low which created our high. So you can see if we exceeded this point, market structure is now bearish, and then this becomes our low. And now we look for where did we create this low from. Now again, we need 2 or more bullish candles. So this is 1 bullish candle, so it doesn't count. And then this is 2 bullish candles. So you can see that's 2 consecutive bullish candles. So this is the high which created the low. So technically market structure is only going to flip above this point up here. And for now, this is our low. We haven't exceeded these wicks, so this is still classified as our low. So we are bearish on the 4 hour, with this being our high where we will transition, unless what happens is we create a new 4 hour low, and then it will become this point over here, because then this will be a 2 or more candle pullback. So at the moment, weekly is bearish, daily is bullish, 4 hour is bearish. And now we can look at our 1 hour. Again, just from the very strong bearish push which we had recently, you can see our 1 hour low is over here. The reason why I'm using this as opposed to these over here is because if we plot a horizontal line on the bottom, the bottom wick, you can see that we have not got a candle close below that point. So technically this is our low. We always take the first point. Now if this is our low, we need to find 2 or more bullish candles in a row. This is 1. Again, this is 1. Here you can see we have 2. So what I'm going to do at this point is mark out the high of that. And at any point did we exceed this high, get a candle close above that high. Remember, you need to take into consideration the wicks. And you can see here price got very close to closing above that high, but we did not close above that high. So technically we are still bearish in market structure until either we close above this high or get a candle close to create a new low, and then in that case we're going to have a new point which created that low, and then so on. So we just need to base market structure off of our highs and our lows and the points which created our highs and our lows. So at the moment I have a 3v1 bearish market structure. The reason why I am though still quite keen on taking buys is you can see the daily trend. So we have market structure and then we have trend. If we look on the daily time frame, our market structure is obviously bullish on the daily. It's one of our only time frames which is bullish. The rest are all bearish. What we need to identify with a daily trend is if we go to a 30-minute time frame, are we creating lower highs and lower lows, or higher highs and higher lows? Now in this case, since today started, we have, or we can actually take it from last night, we have been creating higher highs and higher lows. So our daily sort of candle at the moment is currently creating higher highs and higher lows. So what I would say is that we need to understand trend and market structure. Those are very important because they seem similar, but they aren't. You don't look at them the same way. So if I'm having a daily candle which is trending bullish, but my overall market structure is bearish, that means in the long term I'm looking at possible bearish moves on gold. But for today, I'm probably going to be looking more so at buys than I am at sells, while we're currently in these sorts of areas, because obviously those high highs and high lows, that does tell us a lot. So yeah, I hope that that does make a lot of sense. I know at first market structure can be incredibly hard to understand, and identifying it, especially with those highs and those lows, or knowing which high to choose, which low to choose. That's one of the most asked questions that I get is, how do I know which high to start on, or how do I know which low to start on? And it's simply, you just need to scroll out and you need to identify, okay, if you didn't think that this was the low, what you could do is then say, okay, this was a high, and mark out market structure from that point. So you could then say, okay, there was the point which created the high, and then work it out. You know, we're creating lows, we're creating lows, we're creating lows. So that's what you're going to have to do. Otherwise, yeah, it's just going to take practice and getting used to. Yeah, no problem at all, Zypher. I hope that was beneficial. Again, I know how tough market structure can be, and the importance of market structure I can't stress enough. But what I have started noticing recently is that if you are going to be trading intraday, which is especially the type of trading that I do, you know, we're not holding moves extremely long term. It is very, very important to trade with the current daily trend. Otherwise, you know, especially on pairs like gold and GJ, you can get really, you know, hurt with the drawdown and just be caught on the wrong side of the daily trend, and that's the last thing that you want. So being able to identify the highs and the lows, and then also higher highs, higher lows, or low lows and low highs, and knowing which ones are relevant and which ones aren't, very, very important. This 30-minute candle is about to close. You can see on GJ again, closing very strong bearish. I didn't catch any of this move down, which is a little bit unfortunate, but I definitely know that later on in the day there's probably going to be a retest of some sort of a low. Let me just add what I'm looking for back here. Yep, gold definitely wasn't playing around. Okay, so 30-minute candles are now closed. No bottom wick on GJ. We're also approaching a support level. So yeah, if you took this move, I mean, yeah, amazing move. 40 pips, just insane move on GJ. So well done for anyone who did take those GJ London Open sells. All I would say now is just to wait. There's no entries now below this point, or not that I would be comfortable with taking, and this also closing on a support or closing on a previous level resistance is certainly also not a buy confirmation. What you need to see if you are looking for buys, which, I mean, if you're buying into this, make sure you got a backup account, but I would say that, you know, you want to be waiting for a nice strong pullback and then a retest of the low. Yeah, and we need to break this level on gold, and then it's pretty good to see gold continue bullish for the rest of the day. I think, especially if GJ is going to be continuing down. Obviously, there is that negative correlation between the two. One thing we do need to watch out for in GJ is this Governor Bailey talk, which is happening a bit later on in the day. And then also we have some flash manufacturing PMI and flash services PMI, which is coming in at 10:30, so in about an hour's time. So yeah, that's definitely something to keep an eye out for if you are planning on trading GJ for the rest of the day. Looking at possible levels for a retest or where we could possibly see a pullback to. Yeah, very interesting situation here on GJ. Very, very interesting. This would have been, a position like this would have been amazing. You don't get this a lot, where it's just a 10 pip stop loss or so, and a move of like 40, 50 pips. That is, you know, that's an incredible London Open, to be honest. Just at this point waiting on gold. Someone actually asked me the other day, guys, what other pairs if I could trade other than GJ and gold would it be, and it's definitely pound AUD. That pair moves very similarly to GJ in terms of pip range and pip amount. So if you guys are looking for other pairs to trade, try that out. If GJ is not working out for you, if gold's not working out for you, I actually wouldn't suggest trading gold to people who don't have a lot of experience in the markets, just because of how it moves and how, if you aren't trading well, or if you aren't like managing risk, following a trading plan, this thing will destroy your account without a doubt. Gold is lethal. It is, yeah, the definition of high risk, high reward. I think we got about another 30 or so. Actually, let's do about a minute or 2 minutes, guys. If you guys do have any last questions before I end off, or want to send in any last charts or anything like that before I end off, please do. Obviously, we're going into the weekend now. Next week's our last week of April when it comes to trading, so we need to make it worthwhile. I think it is. Let me just check the calendar here. Yeah, so we have one more week next week of April. So again, if you guys are, depending on how you're doing for the week so far, if you're up for the week, or sorry, for the month so far, if you're up for the month, try use next month to maximize, you know, your profits for the month, to make the most of your month. Obviously, if you break even or struggling to get to break even this month, then next week stick to the trading plan, 1 to 2 trades a day. Manage your risk more so than ever, especially in the last week. And try and get yourself ending on a good foot for April, so that you can go into May with a fresh start, with a good perspective on trading and feeling good about the markets. You don't want to be going into May after having a very tough last week in April and a very tough April overall. I mean, April market conditions, especially on gold, have not been easy. I will certainly say that myself. I've definitely fallen into the trap of aggressive trading recently. And again, if I was not managing risk or didn't know how to manage risk with the lot sizes that I use, there could have been some massive trouble. But because I've been doing or managing risk since, you know, right at the beginning of my trading journey, and I've always preached it, and I've always, you know, lived by, you can't trade without or you can't be a profitable trader without managing risk. I think it is the most important aspect of trading. Then yeah, definitely start implementing that into your trading in this last week of April, and also try and stick to 1 to 2 sessions, 1 preferably, but 2 if you feel like you are disciplined enough. And again, 1 to 2 trades a day, 1 to 2 managed trades a day, because if you're taking 1 to 2 trades a day and they're unmanaged, then you may as well be taking 50 trades a day. So 1 to 2 managed trades a day. And other than that, guys, I think that's going to be me for this morning. Members, I will chat to you guys on the Telegram or in Discord. Next week is back to the proper schedule, where it is going to be, I put it on the Telegram a while back, where it's going to be Monday, Wednesdays and Thursdays are going to be streaming, and Tuesdays and Fridays are going to be for the members only. But yeah, Antonio, I'm glad that you learned your lesson. You know, that's the most important thing in life in general, is that if you're doing something wrong, learn why you're doing it wrong, implement a fix for that, and then things are going to start getting a lot better in all aspects of life. So well done for implementing a new strategy to your trading, and I'm glad things are working out. Good luck with that FTMO challenge, which you mentioned. I hope that you manage to get through phase 1, and I have full confidence in you. And yeah, have a wonderful weekend, everyone. You too, Antonio, and I will see you guys all on Monday for the stream. And yeah, trade safely for the rest of the day and go into the weekend not stressing about the charts at all. Nice 2-day break. But But yeah, cheers guys. Thank you everyone as well for the support. Please leave a like before you go as well if you haven't already, and sub if you're on sub. Appreciate it guys. Cheers.